Welcome to this episode of the Tunde Laniyo podcast entitled The Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. Last week we started with one of the giants in the Nigerian theatre. He has been not only a theatre artist, is also working in the footsteps of giants that are producing the people who are shaping the Nigerian theatre from the Department of Dramatic Arts at the Obafemi Awolowo University. He is Professor Wumi Raji, and from playing the roles of Brother Chume in secondary school, of being in several productions in Ilorin, he has transversed to producing people for the industry in Nigeria. So today we'll continue our discussion as he continues to share with you as a witness in the history of the Nigerian theatre. I welcome you again to this episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History.
Thank you.
Now, we know that a lot of things can be done to improve the quality of what is delivered by the professionals in the field. But a lot of people are also complaining that there are too many people who are not trained, particularly in the area of films and things, who are taking over the roles that trained people should be taking. What's your thinking about it?
My own view is that the more the merrier. We need more collaboration. Of course, is to leave the field open to these non-professionals. But professionals should not shy away from working with these non-professionals. So I think that the collaboration, can be good. In the 60s and in the 70s, so when university theatre programs, were just being introduced,
Yes.
of course, starting from Ibadan, then of course coming to Ife and all that. We all knew about the Yoruba Popular Traveling Theatre.
Yes.
You see, and they were performing. In terms of formal training, no.
None.
Well, Robert Ogunde, Moses Olaya Adejuma, Duru Ladipo, Kola Ogunmola, Oyin Adejobi, and so on and so forth like that. Okay? They were actor managers, and they were traveling from place to place. They were performing in schools, in churches, in town squares, and all that.
And they had a lot of influence.
And the Nigerian theatre was richer for it. So at the time, the intellectuals, of course, they were few then, who were also in the theatre scene, Wole Soyinka, Dapo Adeluba, Olarotimi, did not shy away from collaborating, reaching out, and working with these people.
Yes.
Of course, Duro Ladipo benefited a lot from collaborating with Ulibaya.
Yes.
And of course, he started his theatre at a rented apartment in Osogbo.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, that place was his base. It was where the plays were rehearsed. It was where the plays were first performed.
Yes.
It was also the kind of exhibition center. Okay? And Ulibaya was there, advising him on, some of the materials that he could use, that he could adapt into plays, that he could produce. Okay? And look at some of the fantastic products of the time. Obakuso, Obamoro, Maremi, Obawaja. These were, but it was also producing for television.
Yes.
So the same thing for Kola Ogunmola.
Yes.
Who was actually given an employment as artist in residence at the University of Ibadan
Yes.
in 1962.
Yes.
And it was there that they actually took on Imositola's The Palm Wine Record. And it was adapted for the stage. And it was produced. And it also became, a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
So I think that what we should actually, I have gone into all that just to say that what we should actually be doing is collaborating more.
Right.
And we professionals making our impact felt, how we can work together, how we can contribute to make what these people are putting out polished and attractive. So that is what I think. And it also happened in the early days of Nollywood. I mentioned it the last time. Kola Oyewo, who was here, acted in many, Saworoide, and all that. It was there. Saworoide, eventually, and several other productions. Laide Adewale, Peter Fatomilola, who you just interviewed, he was in several productions like that. So I think that the intellectuals, the professionally trained theater artists, actors, filmmakers, film producers, costume designers, technical theater, I don't see the need, to start condemning people. Of course, when you see substandard productions, it can be, substandard productions can be quite worrisome.
Yes.
But the thing to do is to
help to make things better.
So as I said, this kind of collaborations have led to fantastic. Wale Ogunyemi was also a talent that people like Wole Soyinka and Akwadeluba discovered in Ibadan. So that's the way it should be.
I remember that one some much younger relatives who, when they came to Nigeria, had, this one is theater. He must be famous, he must be this, he must be that. That's the experience from America where they were coming from. Incidentally, people seem not to be sufficiently well paid. A lot of the people in theater, there don't seem to be enough opportunities for them to get engaged and be paid well. How do you think this can be improved upon? And I know that some organizations are trying to sponsor some productions working in collaboration with universities, departments, and things. How do you think this can be increased and more opportunities are available for those in that area, particularly the younger students, through which they can apply their trade?
I think it is, I agree with you that it is difficult, and it is not just because the society does not know the impact or the importance of some of these productions, but also because of the economic
situation
in Nigeria. Seen it himself due to lack of sponsorship. In the 90s, there was this bank. Is it African International Bank?
Yes.
That was sponsoring productions. Olarotimi, 3 plays of Olarotimi were produced. Obaisi, Kurumi,
rest of
Hopes of the Living Dead. Wale, Akwadeluba produced JP Clark to Zidi for them. Wale Ogunyemi produces Langbodo for them, and so on and so forth like that. But again, that one folded up. So I think that there is a need for many of these corporate bodies
to be involved.
And quite a number of them were still being involved. I think that, again, I can't remember the details now. There was a professional organization that sponsored the production. The writing, the adaptation of the life story of M.K. Abiola.
Okay.
on stage. But it was done by Razaki Odubakari and produced at Muson Center in Lagos. So it is still on. But the only thing, this kind of collaboration is still on. The only thing is that we need more of it. We need more of it. And it is both. So the society needs this awareness. Art always needs patronage.
Yes.
Even Hollywood and all that, it always needs support. And of course, we need to struggle more to let the society become aware of that. So, but these corporate organizations themselves should also know, should also be made aware. And they quite know, because MTN, Glo, this communication organization, yes, and several other corporate bodies, when they want to advertise their products, they go for Nollywood stars. Afizu Yuturu was for many years in Glo advertisement. So I think that these corporate bodies, establishments, needs to take note of this fact that out there are artists who, when engaged, can really contribute to their public image, corporate image. So the corporate departments of these organizations need to know that, and they need to take more interest. There's a lot that theater artists, that film producers, that actors and actresses can do for them. So it's both, but we also should continue struggling.
Yes. Do you think that perhaps, I know that we used to have NUTAF. I don't know if it's still...
No, yes, it went defunct at some point, but in recent years, there have been attempts to resuscitate them, and this is about 6-7 years now. So there have been these festivals, yearly festivals, taking place in different universities.
Not coming together.
Yes, it is different departments of theater of different universities coming together, to produce plays.
So it's part of
Nigerian University Theatre Arts Festival. Theatre Arts Festival. So it's not been easy.
Because the idea at the onset, I think, was to let the students from the different universities, those departments, come together, know themselves too, so that they can leverage on the strengths of one another. And if that is not happening, I was thinking that that's a platform that could be used for marketing what those universities have, that corporate organizations can be invited to witness, so that can influence them into saying, these are things that...
Yes, that is important. I agree with you. But these are still students in training, so they are productions. But yes, if corporate agencies, establishments, show interest or are invited to sponsor some of these things, if that is successful and they witness it, so yes, these talents can be harvested. Can be the talent can be discovered. Quite early. Quite early. I agree with that. But even then, there are many people who have graduated, trained professionals who are out there, that they also can. And yes, maybe the trained professionals themselves, we should also think of also coming together, maybe a forum.
That's right.
Not just like NUTAF. Now.
Post-university study.
Yes. So that you form a kind of professional associations of different, and of course they exist, NANTAP and all that.
Yes.
ANTAP and all. So maybe they should come together more often.
Approach these organizations and encourage them
seek
to be
sponsorship, funding, collaborations. It's not easy, but the economic situation also has not helped matters. But it can work.
In terms of the security situation, how do you think it has affected the production of
Yeah.
For the theater especially.
No, even for the security situation is very serious. I mean, even to travel to say students want to take a play from OAU to Ibadan, you still
You are anxious.
yeah, that state of anxiety until they go and come back. Yes. So now talk less of taking place around the country. So it has really, really affected a lot of things negatively because people are afraid to travel. You can't travel by road. Unlike in the days of Yoruba popular traveling theatre, where people just travel from place to place, and when they get to town, they will dance around the cities and all that. These days, you have to be afraid. You have to be thinking of, I hope they don't kidnap people, and then we have to start. So there was this story of a band who went to perform somewhere in Kogi State, and then
seven of them.
They were yes, it was a musical band. So all of them.
The story.
Yes, all of them were kidnapped, and they spent close to 2 weeks in the den of kidnappers because they were asking for. I mean, I can imagine the experience of those people. So
very traumatic.
The security situation has had this deleterious effect. You see, on the productions of
it's not only in the area of agri that we have problem with the security situation. No. It's in every sector.
It is every sector. All sectors where people, which involves outreach, people moving from one place to the other. Yeah. So that is there. I mean, when Soyinka was there was also this thing that he was producing on the road. Ajit Prof. Before the blackout, before the blowout, those series. Yes. You can't do that again.
You can't. And I just also wonder how, because also when you look at television stations now, most of them don't show drama again.
That is very sad.
How can this be turned around? Because when we were growing up, and as young people in the 70s, we were at least once or twice a week we were on television.
Every week, Durola Depo, Lyric Paima, every day have slots.
All of them.
Yes, all of them.
And I remember that people quickly went home to be at home to watch their show.
Exactly. That time televisions were not even common.
Yes.
We would go from home to home. You will start by the
window
to watch this drama.
It's what I'm saying is that that's something that excites the population. So what do you think is responsible for the television stations not continuing with that kind of culture?
So I think
people through drama for the society.
Think it started with the collapse of the that's where it started from, of the popular traveling theater. So when they went defunct one after the other, gradually their productions also began to fade out on even Village Headmaster, even the soap operas, they are also not there again. So progressively these television stations began to phase them out. And then of course there is also the materialism, the consideration for what brings in money. Programs that bring in money, programs for which you can find sponsorship. Okay, so maybe it also has to do with sponsorship. So
why can't we find sponsors? Those are things that are popular. That's what is baffling me.
The will.
Remember Arelu?
Yes.
Remember the streets will be empty.
Everybody wanted to
see, and you know that's the place where you put your advertisements. Why are those things not exciting people? We are making more money.
Yeah, the will is important, and also what you consider to be the priority. So maybe the managers and I mean chief executive of television stations, and we now have them. At that time there were only a few of them,
Yes.
but there are so many of
Many
them
now.
So maybe they do not consider it as priorities, and I think that yes, as you have said, it is something that could promote the image of these television stations. And even the sponsors, if such a program, I mean, you introduce one such program every week, and it catches on, so much so that, like we used to, I mean, I mean, by Moses Olai Adejuma's 30-minute slot on NCA, every week, we make sure that we watch it, we search for it.
Yes.
So if a television station can do that, you see, can introduce it, and it becomes popular, people will watch. And it will be good for the image of the corporate bodies.
The corporate bodies that are associated with.
Yes.
Because it bothers me, so many, and there are so many stars roaming the streets.
Our professional associations, we also need to do things about this, about sensitizing, maybe we need now to get together. I think it's a good suggestion. We need to get together to see how we can get these managers and chief executives of television stations to start to explore, to consider the possibility of
introducing drama in their program,
weekly drama series. And in their program, and then also maybe finding sponsorship for it. They could even start without sponsorship, but once the thing catches on,
they will get sponsors.
But there is another thing that is affecting it.
Right.
This.
Oh, yeah. Mobile phones. They're so small and personal with so many things, so much content.
You can go on YouTube.
Yeah.
And watch whatever you want to watch. So there are so many videos online. So people will just sit down and then they just hold their phone. I mean,
you don't need to go anywhere.
Yes, it also affects relationships.
And you don't need to play to watch it.
Exactly. So this development is, it is good though. This social media thing, it has its own advantages, but it's also affecting a lot of serious cultural productions. So
it means that, because I was just going to also then ask, I know that most performing arts, dramatic arts, theatre arts departments usually also had business studies,
theatre management.
Aren't we still producing them?
We are still producing them. We have theatre management as an area of specialization here.
So are they not doing enough? Or do we need to rethink some of
Yes, maybe we need to do, I want to admit that maybe we need to do more also at our level. To see how we can make our television stations, to become conscious of the potentials of a weekly television drama. Persuade them. So we need to sell that idea.
Because now all we see is just talk, this discussion, that discussion, that interview.
And of course, you also have this television station that is devoted to Nollywood productions. 157, channel 157, it's also there. So we'll also be competing with that. So the challenges are great.
Yes.
But it does not mean that we should not explore that possibility. Yeah.
Again, just thinking back. In that time, you wanted to impress your friends. Part of what you did was to point at your friends that were actors, either on stage or on television. Did you get to experience that?
Yes, now. Or even even people watching you. As I said, when quite a number of productions that we did in Ilorin were recorded for television, and they were aired on NTA or even state radio stations. And some of the people who watch it will say, that is Wumi, that is my whatever. So that is there.
Yeah.
That is there. And of course, people want to be identified with Afiso Yotoro, or even people like Kola Oyiwo, who are colleagues in the clinic. I'm a Baba Yeni,
Yeah.
and anywhere where people see Peter Fatomilola, and so it's still there. It is that potential is still there, and you want to say, I know this one. It's my colleagues.
Is that also bringing in more students for you to train?
Actually, what is bringing any student, because we have many more students these days, in fact, than we can tell.
You can.
I think it is a possibility, this possibility of getting into
Films
electronic media, films, some becoming stars and all that, and then getting known, and then getting into, not just films, but also into advertising, into public relations and all that. So that is really causing more and more people to get interested in theater studies generally. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much,
Well
Mr.
done.
Lani. It's
And
been a pleasure.
It's good to have you as a witness on the Tunde Laniyan podcast, Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. In the last few episodes, we've been talking with this giant in the field of Nigerian theatre. And he's been sharing his experiences, his own growth within framework, things that we can improve, things that we can benefit from. And that's the way to go. You can leave comments on what you think of what we are doing, the way forward. And you can continue to subscribe and be informed of new programs by clicking on the subscription button, so that when there's a new program, a new episode that comes up every Thursday at 6 p.m., you will be notified. Until we come your way again, it's bye from me.